Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Noriana Fernando, and welcome to the GEF Live Zone. I'm honored to be here with Naoko Ishii, the CEO of the Global Environmental Facility. So Naoko is just coming to us fresh, or maybe a little jet-lagged from Madrid, where she was just at COP25, the climate summit. Tell us, what are some of your takeaways, especially for young people watching this right now?
Right. Maybe you may have already seen the headline from the COP25. It's actually a little difficult to be fully upbeat of the outcome of the COP25 because there is a clear disconnect between the people, particularly young people on the street and expecting more versus that what was the outcome of the negotiation. Clearly, the COP failed to raise the ambition to the right level, and that actually worried a lot of participants, of course, including us. But actually, and it was particularly frustrated because science getting clearer and clearer, louder and louder, and all the report coming from scientist circle is telling us that how terrible the situation is, and we need a massive transformation of the economic system if we were to continue to prosper within the planetary boundaries. So the message from science is clear, and of course all numbers and scenes from the real world and the flood and fire and typhoons, and it's also very, very devastating. So that with those things together, the outcome was very, very frustrating. That's it. That's it, if I may. I kind of understand why it's not easy for the negotiators, COP, to come up with an high level of ambition, because what is required is a massive transformation of the key economic system, moving from current very linear, fossil fuel-based economy towards much more regenerative, much more based on natural capital, much more circular, and it requires a massive, unprecedented transformation of the economic model. And it's not something you can easily come up with. So I kind of understand why it is difficult, and us, the GF, really trying to find a way to present pathway to move from current economic model toward a new model or transition, how to navigate the transition.
Indeed, there are challenges, but also plenty of opportunities. That's a great message. And as you mentioned, the research is pointing to some serious challenges, whether it's in cities, oceans, farms, the whole spectrum. Can you tell us about some of the work that the GEF is doing with governments to tackle these challenges?
Yeah. Our focus, particularly for the current investment cycle of the GEF7, is how to help government. But actually, it's not only government. It's a coalition of the government and the business, the CSOs, academia, and the citizens together, how we can move from current model to the new one. And in case of cities, we actually initiated a program of sustainable city program during the GEF6 almost 5 years ago. We now, at this particular council, we present the follow-up project or sustainable city program, and already have quite a number of countries and the cities become part of this program. And this program is basically trying to help the subnational leaders to come up with a better, much more integrated sustainable city planning, so that they can fight against climate change, they can make the space much more nature aligned, and more resilient, and actually the good place for the citizens. So that then this program, I hope, create the pathway to sustainable cities, and that the role of the cities in climate fight, biodiversity fight, is extremely critical. Can I continue? So that then one more program that which we also present this time is that the Food and Land Use System program. IPBES, it's a UN scientist community for biodiversity, present the very important report last May. It basically tells us we are losing the biodiversity at incredible speed, and the major forces of this biodiversity loss is agriculture, because that then for production of the food, we basically deforest a lot of land, and also the grass. So it actually that then the animals and the plants are losing the space. So unless we find a way to fight against those economic forces, in this case agriculture, biodiversity loss will not be stopped. So that it's extremely important for us to find a way to actually work with the agriculture sector, and this food and land use system program is exactly the instrument to try to do it. It was presented at the last council meeting, but for this council meeting, we added 5 more countries as the group. So we have now 23 countries, almost 300 million, working on the food and land use system program, basically to how to help countries and farmers, the business, to work together to move from very aggressive agriculture toward much more regenerative agriculture.
And the running theme is working together. It takes
Absolutely.
a village when the stakes are so high, right? So we're just 2 weeks away from 2020, which has been dubbed the super year for nature, climate action, and biodiversity. What does the super year mean to you, and what are you hoping to see happen in 2020?
Actually, the good thing about 2020 is now everybody is talking about the super year 2020. So the ambition, the expectation is already high. So it's already quite success for a community to understand something important may be coming. The reason is that we have several important the milestone event, like an ocean event in June, the IUCN the Congress, then during the UN General Assembly time, there may be a nature summit, then we have the CBD Convention of the Biodiversity COP in October, then followed by a climate COP in Glasgow. So there are quite a number of important COP, and each one of them has a very high ambition. For instance, a CBD COP in China is expected to come up with a new 10-year framework. This is the opportunity for particularly the natural resource management community to come up with a bigger, a robust framework for next 10 years. And as I mentioned, we are losing the biodiversity at incredible speed and the scale, how we could really bend the curve, turn the tide, but it requires not only biodiversity community, if that kind of exists, but that entire government, not only environmental ministry or forest, but again the agriculture, the transport, and the energy together to address this root cause of biodiversity loss. So
lots to look forward to, and I hope you're all marking your calendar. So we're going into your final GEF meeting as CEO. What are you looking forward to, and what are you really hoping to get out of this week?
Yeah, by the way, it's not the final one, it's a final last but one. My last council meeting is on the next June one, and that is the time that I think the new CEO is actually selected. So I have two more
Okay. You're one
council
before the last.
to
Yes,
go.
it's still a big one.
Yeah, yeah. But actually, that this is almost I enter definitely into the last year of the GEF as a GEF CEO, and what we have trying to do with the team is how we could address much more the driver of the environmental degradation, not only just actively responding to the symptom. So to try to change from a symptom to the causes, the consequences to causes, and that come up with this idea of a system change, then how to address the food system, which is the major driver of the biodiversity loss, how we can work with cities, which can be also the big polluter, but also the big player to fight against the climate change. So how we can make the energy transition much more smooth, and how we can move on to the circular economy. Those are kind of system change project or program we are trying to present and actually to implement. So I want to continue that to push this driver-focused approach, system change approach, integration with the several conventions towards much more holistic program. Then, as you also mentioned, multi-stakeholder coalition doing things together is extremely important because each one of those things cannot be done just by one actor. You can't leave this to environmental convention. You can't leave it to just a environmental minister. You really have to bring all key actors together toward one shared goal. And till the last day of my tenure, I will continue to promote this agenda.
Thank you, Naoko.
Thank you.
As you said, so much work to be done, but this is a message of optimism and resilience. Thank you very much for joining us, and you can follow Naoko online using Naoko Ishii GEF or at the GEF, and you can also follow the conversation online using the hashtag GEFLive. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.